We call the meeting to order of the Portland City Council. It's our second regular scheduled meeting of the month of October of 2013. At this time, I ask you to stand for the prayer and pledge. Our HR Director, John Grubbs, will do it.
Please bow with me. Heavenly Father, we've got a lot to be thankful for in this country. One of the things that we've got to be thankful for is the ability to self-govern and to have great leadership and representation of our citizens. As this body assembles tonight, I ask that you guide them in their leadership of this community. And I would like to thank you for all of the servants, all of the people that give each day to this community, the men and the women that serve our city, our state, and our country. I ask these things in Christ's name. Amen. Amen. Join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Roll call, Ms. King.
Alderman Bratton.
Here.
Alderman Callis.
Here.
Alderman Harbin.
Here.
Vice Mayor McDowell.
Here.
Alderman Bennett.
Here.
Alderman White.
Here.
All right, thank you. Next, need approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
I would like to, under Public Works, item B, take that off the agenda tonight. We need to do a little bit more work on our wording and research on that item before we bring it up. So I'd like to take that one off the agenda. Does anyone else have any changes?
Item what?
B, under Public Works, ordinance 13-35.
I did too.
Oh, did it? Okay, I may have. Right at the bottom of the first page. We talked about works, but we need to do just a little bit more research on that item before we bring it up. Any other changes to the agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have communication from Mayor and Alderman. Does anyone wish to address the public with anything from the council? Okay, if not, we'll go on. Now is a period of public recognition. If anyone in the audience would like to address the council, may do so at this time. It has to be an item on the agenda and keep it to about 5 minutes. Does anyone wish to address the council at this time? Okay, if not, we don't have any other business at this time. We do have one item for a public hearing. I will open the public hearing for ordinance 13-34. So ordinance approving a contract amendment between the Portland Airport Authority and the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division for runway safety improvements for the Portland Municipal Airport. Does anyone wish to make a comment to the council on this ordinance? Anyone wish to make a comment? Public hearing is closed. We will now get into our business of the meeting. First item be resolution 13-96. Mr. Bratton, do you want to do that? Or?
It's resolution 1396. It's a resolution authorizing the acceptance of the best bid for a pole barn for the gas department. Make a motion to approve.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, this is a pole barn for the gas department to be used by gas department and some other departments. It was bid. We had 5 bids, and low bid is National Barn at $24,117.
At the last meeting, we were told this was for gas, water, and sewer.
Yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes, it will be used, but it's for all departments. Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the next item we're taking off. I don't have anything under Park Rec. Mike, do you want to do public safety?
Resolution number 13-97, resolution to hire 3 volunteer firefighters for the city of Portland. Their names are Ryan Thompson, Cody, you have to help me with that last name. I don't wanna Puccini, I don't wanna mess that up. And David Chandler, move to approve.
We have a motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I think,
Opposed.
Al, do you have someone here tonight?
Yes, sir. Out of the three candidates, two of them are actually on shift tonight and were unable to be here, but this Mr. David Chandler, he was the third one. He was off work tonight, was able to attend, so he just wanted to come by and let you guys meet him. He's been in Portland now for about 5 months or so, and he lives on William Street off of South Russell with his family, so.
Very
Thank y'all
nice.
very much.
Welcome
Thank you.
aboard.
Thank you.
All right, resolution, give me just a second, scroll up here. Resolution 13-98, resolution approving an active hiring list of 7 candidates for police officers, immediately hiring the top 3 and sending 1 current officer to the Sumner County Drug Task Force. The 3 that we will hire immediately is Jeremy Van Hoos, Mark Heel, and Justin Head. Move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any comments or questions? Okay, Jody, then Steve.
I just want to go on record to say, and the 3 individuals they're hiring, I approve that 100%. I think they'll be a great asset to the department. I was somewhat bothered by the fact that we were sending a member back to the drug task force again. I don't have any problem doing that. It's just that it didn't really seem to come through any discussions or any, maybe other than just last week we were told about it. But I think that when we tried to balance the budget this year, all of us fought to keep the 3 officers in that budget because we were under the impression that they needed the manpower here. And now that we've hired 3, like we're going to ship one of them off or ship one of the officers off, not the new ones, but to the drug task force. I don't know the, and I know the individual that they're wanting to send, and he'll be a great asset to the drug task force, and I hate that I'm even having that discussion because of him, but it's just a business side of it. I just don't know that, I would much rather seen them utilize that person in-house and kept him on staff here. And that's just my 2 cents worth on it.
Mr. White?
Well, I basically agree with everything that Councilman McDowell just said, but all I heard for months was that we needed these 3 guys to go on the road, on the patrol division, that we had to have them. And everybody here, I guess, fought for them. And I don't have any idea who they want to send to the drug task force. Doesn't really matter to me because I don't run that department. But had I known that they were going to do this, and I guess I would have known, and I stayed at the last meeting, but I haven't discussed this with anybody. But I don't know that I would have voted for 3, knowing that they were going to send one to the drug task force.
Okay.
I may be able to, just to help out a little bit there. Over the last several months, we've been talking about, or at least I have, and maybe the chief has, about a greater need for more drug interdiction in the city of Portland, especially working things that deal with prescription drug abuse, pain pills, those things alike. It's maybe a slight misnomer that we're sending technically somebody off as if they're not going to be in the city of Portland. In fact, putting them there will cause the rest of the team to spend more time, the drug team to spend more time in Portland and to be working cases there for us. So I see it as a benefit to have more people working in Portland, not somebody leaving Portland. And I think it'll be well needed and we'll benefit from that.
Well, I probably wouldn't have said a thing had they said, I want 3 candidates to be hired, 2 to go to patrol division, 1 to detective division to work those drugs that you're talking about. But sending him out of town, he's gonna stay out of town most of the time. You and I both know that.
I don't know that.
I do. I do.
Well, I've spoke with I encourage you to speak with the chief. I've spoke
Well,
with
I
him.
wish he'd have spoke to me before tonight, because I
Well, he
think I'm gonna
spoke. He
vote
spoke
yes.
at the last work study, and I've spoken with him as an individual, talked with him. and I was encouraged by the fact about that the Sumner County Drug Task Force says that the greatest need in the county is the city of Portland. They said we're the greatest need because we just have an infiltration of problems with pain pills and things alike. And so I'm encouraged by the fact that maybe we can clean up a few areas and give some much needed attention to the problem that we have here. So I look forward to it.
Well, I think you're not gonna agree to disagree on this.
That's all right.
then, 'cause
That's
I think
okay.
if
what
we're
we're here
gonna
for.
increase them, he should've went to detective division instead of.
Yeah, the,
It's on
the
the
individual they're gonna send has been working all their, has been out working on most of their prescription cases and
He
a lot of
has, and I-
stuff right now, and so that's I mean, that's what he does, but I mean, Steve and I both can tell you from working in the department in the past, we never, I myself never seen a benefit to having them here.
Yeah.
They would set up a buy usually in the Fred's parking lot, and it would be somebody that brought out of Hendersonville to do the buy to show us that they had done something here, and I never seen an impact here.
Well, you know, this is something that we can ask the chief as we move on through this process. Can you come and show us some benefits? And after giving some time
Yeah,
and seeing
I would
the
like to see, some result from it.
Sure, sure. There's nothing wrong with that to ask as we go forward, and if as this body feels like, hey, we're not seeing much, you just bring that person back.
I'm not for sending him at the first place.
I understand you're not, but I'm just saying that if we do approve to send him, that you don't
By
like the
voting for
results,
this,
or the results are not
Are we
enough.
approving to send him?
Huh?
By voting for this,
Unless
are
you
we
amend it.
approving to send him?
What this resolution is written, it
Yes,
is.
sir. Yes, sir.
Right.
That's what we brought out of work.
I sure hate to vote against it, but I'm gonna have to if we're gonna do that.
And that's only you can decide that.
I'm gonna make an amendment then that we not send anybody at this time until the chief talks to us and gives us a little more explanation.
In the form of a motion.
Yes, sir.
Have a motion to amend, Resolution 1398 to, strike the Drug Task Force. We have a second, I believe, from Mr. Menace. All right, we have a motion on the floor. All we're discussing is the amendment only. Does anyone wish to discuss taking the drug
And
task?
that doesn't mean that he can't send anybody, we're just gonna get more discussion before he does that,
That's
right?
all it means.
Well, I'm like Steve, I don't have no idea who he's wanting to send to the drug task force, but I don't like this idea. I'll be honest with you. We've got people making racetrack out of streets right here in the city of Portland. And the more police we hire, they don't, we keep hiring police, but it's not slowing the traffic down any. They go by my house, I know, doing 50 or 60 miles an hour. And I know other people complain about it too. I'd like to see some radar run and get off 109 and work some city streets and subdivisions and things, slow the people down. People are wanting speed bumps. Why do you think they're wanting them? Because people are racing up and down their streets. And in front of my house right now, there's a black mark, probably 30 feet long, where somebody come from Watt Hardison and slid from my driveway to North Russell. They were going so fast, one wheel locked up, I guess. And I kind of have a problem with it. If we could see some more activity here in town, I might be more in favor of going along with it, but
Okay.
I have no
Mr.
problem hiring a 3 at all. In fact,
I don't either.
I'll vote to do that, but I'd rather we had a little more explanation, a little more talk before we send somebody.
All right, Mr. McDowell.
Mayor,
Mr.
I'll say
Bradley.
one more thing, then I'll get off this. I just know that back when our budget got tight several years ago, we were having to make some serious cuts. For years, the city of Portland actually contributed the drug task force director's salary, that he was our employee. And one of the things that we did in that budget process when we were making cuts is we eliminated that position, and I think he actually retired and went on his way. I just know that this body sat here and fought trying to balance this budget, and Alderman Callis was begging to pave roads, and in everything that we did with the budget, that was one of the things that we did not want to touch was the 3 police officer positions, because they kept telling us, we need the help, we need the staff, we need the manpower, we need the additional bodies. We got shifts that are short, and that was an ongoing fight, and so we tried our best to not touch that. We even added another dispatcher for them. That it just, I'm not sure that if we had been told at that time that we're going to hire 2 I mean, we're hiring 3, but basically we're losing 1 when they go to the drug task force. I don't know that we would have all fought as hard to have kept that position in there, because we may have thought, well, at this time we could cut that and pay some streets and send somebody later when things look better. I just don't know that we would have fought as hard for it if we had known that. That's my piece on it, so.
Okay, Mr. Bratton.
We hire department heads, and I don't know what the needs of the city is, public works or public safety. We hire these people, and they know best what they need in their departments. And I have to rely on those individuals and support their needs, and not support what I think we need. I'm going to ask that I'm going to vote not to defer and not to amend, because I respect my fellow council members, but I think they're going to vote no irrespective of if we kick the can down the road and get more information. So I think they're firm in their opinion about they'd just rather not see somebody in the drug task force. And I'm not opposed to that, but I don't think that's going to change anything by actually having the chief come back in. The chief was at the work study, and he had, all the information to convince me that it was a good idea. I agree with Jody. I remember the time that it appeared that every time we'd fuss, they'd have a bust up at the parking lot at Hills, and they say, here, we've done something in Portland, but, I think that with this council bringing that to the chief's attention, I think we'll see a greater effort with having the whole drug task force up here. If it's only 1 week out of every 6 weeks, than having one individual trying to work all these drug cases. So I'm going to vote against the amendment.
All right. Anybody else have any comments?
And I'm regardless of how it goes, I'm going to vote if we leave it in there or take it out to hire and even send. I just wanted y'all to know my feelings on it, that I think we should have had some more discussion on it.
I appreciate it. Any other comments? All right, we're going to vote on the amendment to take it out. So a yes will be taking the drug task force out, and no will be against taking it out.
Mayor, I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm for the 3 people.
Right.
All I want is a little more explanation as to why we're sending that man at this time.
Okay. Understand.
Well, I was here and heard the explanation from Richard, but I still don't understand why. One thing I don't understand why we didn't know this at budget time, because we voted to raise taxes, and that was one of the things that was voted to raise the taxes for for 3 police officers. And I was under the impression they were going to stay in Portland, in town. And I know the drug task force is needed. I know we need it up here, but they're very inactive up here. And I just don't know if that's going to change.
Okay. All right, any other before we vote? Now, all we're voting on is to either send a drug task or not send a drug task, not voting on the actual hires, just the drug task. All in favor of the amendment, which be voting not to send a drug task force, raise your hands. 3. All against the amendment, raise your hand. I vote against the amendment. So the amendment dies. Now we're back to the original motion. Amendment, hires. Any more comments or questions? All in favor of hiring the 3 officers with 1 going drug task force? To resolution 13-98, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm going to pass on it.
Okay. All right, thank you,
I
Mr.
don't
Barr.
think it's the right thing to do at this time.
Okay. I understand, and
We do welcome the 3 new guys.
yeah, we, Mr. Dool, you want to introduce our 3 people?
We have Mark Hill, Jeremy Van Hoos,
Yes, sir. Nice to meet you.
and Justin Head.
Nice to meet you.
Welcome aboard.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you,
Great
guys.
place to work, just pay us no attention.
We all have our opinions, as you found out. so.
The guys it is. it's a great
That's just
place to
democracy
work.
at work. That's nothing wrong with that.
All right, thank you all, and
Thank you.
welcome, welcome aboard. All right, Mr. Callis, do you have anything else?
No, sir, thank you.
We'll move on to the legislative part. First is Resolution 13-99. It's a resolution to reappoint one member to the Portland Planning Commission.
That's what's gonna happen.
Want to reappoint Mark Triplett as a member of the Planning Commission. He has served before. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any comments or questions on the reappointment of Mark Triplett?
Who?
Mark Triplett.
Oh, no, it's fine.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have Resolution 13-100. It's a resolution authorizing acceptance of best bid for gas and diesel fuel for the City of Portland Public Works, Fire, Police, and Animal Control Departments, and also the Parks Department, which will be going with the Public Works Department. We have a motion to get it on the floor.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, the police, fire, and animal control will be going with Fleet One, and then the Public Works and Parks Department will be going with Rapid Fueling.
Who's Fleet One? Where's that?
MAPCO.
Mapco?
And
Why
6
are
other
they separate?
locations.
And the other locations will take their card. too.
Yeah.
So there's a reason the
Because
availability.
Melco didn't want the trash trucks and stuff like that, because of the
Right,
secret.
and it's just, with the volume there
There's more
too, it's
public
easier
works
to
up there.
get in and out.
We got a little bit cheaper rate, I think, at
Exit Rapid
at
Fueling.
Rapid, and so
Need to
Public
understand if you
Works,
want my
Parks,
phone.
those things will go there, but all public safety vehicles will utilize the Fleet One. It has 7 locations around the community.
If we got a cheaper rate at one place, why did we go with them and
Because public safety needs the availability throughout the community and throughout the county, and they have more access to
Right,
Fleet One
good enough?
than they do, and so fire and police will only use them, and it's a very small amount. I think it was less than $600 savings over a year, but they need the availability.
Right. And they both have the card systems and both are tracked each month. So. Is any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Next, we have Resolution 13-101. This is a resolution authorizing acceptance of the best bid for infrared heating and crack sealing for pavement improvements of North Russell Street.
Move
Do
to
we have,
approve.
just get on the floor, do we have a second?
Second.
We had talked in work study about going with Jared, which is a little bit higher, but after doing some checking out. Pavement restorations came up today, did some demonstrations, seemed to do a very good job, very good equipment. References have checked out fine, and as far as Public Works and myself, we could find no reason not to accept the best bid. I know there were some questions, but feel like it's in best interest to accept the best bid.
So, the first demonstration I think we had in our city, was that by Jarrett?
Yes.
And, okay.
And that's doing most all of North Russell, getting it all back to where it's.
Right, basically from, I've gone blank, Wheeler Street all the way to
Kirby.
Kirby Road.
That's actually less square footage than I thought would have to be repaired. I mean, that's not, 3,000 square feet's not a whole lot when you're talking about a road that's over a mile long.
Right, so,
So this goes to Kirby Road?
yes.
It's not as much as I thought we was getting.
Did you think it was going on out to,
Well, I thought it was going further than Kirby Road.
And once we see this, and, you know, this is kind of a trial, you know, we kind of picked that because it's high traffic, a trial to see, and like I say, I think in discussion today, Thomas, that the City of Franklin just bought their own truck. They've been well pleased with the contracting and so forth, and with what's doing, so they kind of doing what we did some trial areas and kind of see how it worked over a period of time. And
They bought their own, they must have been pleased with what it was doing.
right, so I know Metro was very, very pleased, and other people are, so it's very interesting to see it done, so. Is there other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Here, one thing that, if it appears that it's gonna do what we think it's gonna do, the policy now is that contractors not allowed to cut the streets because of issues. If it's, and I know the county will not allow the city to even cut streets because of, you know, the settling. but, and it's, in some places, it's a lot more expensive to dig the pits, and cutting the streets would be less, you know, costly and actually save time. So if it proves to do what we think it's gonna do, maybe at a work study, Thomas could see if we would allow that, if the individuals would pay for this,
Right.
this type service, and even the county would let us cut their streets if we are paid to do that.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
That would eliminate the need to core sometimes also, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be able
Yeah,
to
we
would
cut
have
that
to-
core
Put,
out.
Yeah, some places you just don't have because of utilities.
Right.
There's just not a good area to build a pit on each side of the street.
Cleveland, this, with them doing it, I don't believe you can cut a street without it. I don't believe nobody can fix it where it won't settle. They've poured concrete in them, even that settles.
I agree.
Well-
I put the foam field, I put concrete, I tried, but I'm just saying, if this new technology, if it accomplishes that, then, you know, I mean, I need to see it myself. I don't know.
And it'd be something like when we look at going in the future that, and maybe that's where we mess up sometimes, we'll allow you to cut, but for the next 2 years, you're responsible for that particular cut there. If it does settle, as long as you do that infrared to keep the water out,
Yeah.
let them come back, we need to come back 2 or 3 times.
What's so, I think, making this technology so much better is that you're heating and you're actually bonding what's there with what's new. Instead of just putting all new in and letting it go up against, you're actually making that other part, and it's all
And
just.
it's
all
seeping
bonded.
down and getting a contact from the bottom
Right.
up. I mean,
But you're all right, if we do this, we need to go back and do like the state, the flowable field, so many inches, and, you know,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that, and then hopefully.
if it works, if it doesn't work, then I agree with Melvin, we don't need to do it.
Oh, I think it'll definitely work on what's already settled. You know, I think it'll take care of that. And I'm talking about a new cut.
And that may be
Yeah.
something, Melvin, that, you know, that may be something we allow somebody when the next project comes up and they let them make a cut, make an exemption or something, say, you have to do this, and we all sit back and watch and say,
Yeah.
you know, what are we seeing happening? Because we know what it does in the old way.
Yeah.
The old way, it just don't work
It was
out.
just an idea I thought about it, you know, that.
Could do it too. I mean,
Yeah.
situations where we,
Yeah.
where we would probably rather cut and done.
We might, you know, we might let them make a cut if they'll let this company come in and fix the ditch.
Yeah.
Instead of them throwing some gravel in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
kinda what.
Is that what you're
Yeah, I was
talking
saying
about?
that we, in lieu of,
Oh, okay.
in lieu of, you know, if they would pay for whatever this amount, have them come in and fix it.
Let them come in and fix it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah. I'll go along.
Let it settle a little while, you know.
Yeah,
do
let it
something.
settle a while naturally,
and then
and
put
just
your
see if it
flow.
works, you know. If it does, man, I hate a bump, dip as much as anybody does.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, we'll go on to next resolution, 13-102. It's a resolution for the city to pay a portion of the health insurance premiums for the city council members and their families. Do you have a motion getting on the floor for discussion?
Move to approve.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Just came out of work study we've been talking about for a while of the council members being able to have part of the health insurance program for the city of Portland. Came out of work study where the council members pay 10% of their own individuals, the city paying 90, and then the family coverage would be the same rate as the basically the health employees' health insurance. So open up for discussions. Anyone have any discussion items?
And this was the plan you looked at, Gulliford or somebody you said.
Right, there was some others that had around.
This will this almost double the council salary?
If you put it dollar for dollar, it would probably, maybe even just a little bit more.
A little bit more.
Depending on exactly what you did, so. As far as the, you know, if it's just them only, you're probably right at a little bit less.
Well, I hope I don't offend anybody, but I'm gonna vote against it. I don't think we ought to do it.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not gonna use it, but I'm gonna vote for it because it may have the, an effect on motivating someone to run for
Right.
office next.
Well, if they're running for the money, for the insurance, they don't need to be on the council.
Shouldn't be a motivation.
Well, I understand, but there's a lot of people that are gonna run, but they don't have the time because they may have to do a second job or something because they have to do it for the insurance, and if it's something that they change now.
They have to do it for the insurance, that's what I said. I just don't, I don't think money ought to be an enticement to get somebody to
No,
run.
it shouldn't, but it's just, something's good. Any other comments? All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
All right, raise your hands, no's. Okay, so it's 4-2. All right, motion passes. Next, we have Resolution 13-103. It's a resolution to solicit letters of interest and resumes for replacement member to fill the unexpired term of Tim Coker for the City Council. Do you have a motion, get it on the floor?
So moved.
Have a second?
second.
What come out of work study and talked about is having a, it's attached a little, like a letter of interest, and then have them submit a little resume about themselves on there, and then take these up to November the 15th, and then the council would meet and go through those.
And will they be available like at the front desk or something?
Yeah, that's why we was talking to this, if this passes first thing in the morning, get Teresa and Janice together. I kinda like to have a log, maybe, so if somebody can say, well, I got one and turned it in, and kinda got a record
I see.
of maybe coming up,
Would it be possible to, because someone asked me about, everybody email and everything, there,
Right.
would it be possible to just
Yes.
give them someone's email address?
yeah,
and they-
we can scan it and have it emailed to them.
And then they can still keep up with who
Right,
they
and
send
what we
it
can
to.
do is print off the email and put that with the log sheet.
Okay.
That way we've got a track of,
And either this hasn't been publicized a lot, or nobody has the interest, but it's amazing to me that.
I've had
these
2 or
come out of the
3,
woodwork.
and all of them said, well,
Okay,
you know,
good.
we know the council's gonna make a final how to do it. So I think once it's out there that this is the way you're gonna do it, I think you're gonna have some
one
interest.
person call me, just asked, what do they do if they was interested? And I said, well, we talked about a work study, and that tonight we would solidify what we was gonna do, but that's,
Right.
see,
Have we
finally got an
advertised this
application.
in any way?
Not yet, was waiting until come final
But
tonight.
it was a
It'll be
big
kind of
order.
a short period of time from now to November the 15th.
About a month, less than a month, 3 weeks.
It'll be in the paper, and we're gonna do the radio and do it on the website.
It was a large article in the paper
Right,
this
yeah.
past week.
You're right, Tim
About
already.
that.
Yeah, it was where she, it's the
Where's
paper.
Tim?
right
Where's
there.
Tim?
It was a large article,
we
and she put a
extend that
nice
time
article in the
period a little
paper
bit?
about
Y'all.
how qualified this person had to be to fill your big shoes or something.
I won't be here next
No, it was a good article. I was just kidding with you, Tim. It was a good article.
Yeah, you
Sometime
guys-
in December, give them at least
You
a
gonna be
month
gone
or a
this
little
week?
more than a month.
November 15th? Oh, that was just the deadline for applications. No, I'm gone the second week of
Oh,
November.
it's the deadline for, I got you.
Well, December,
What's December 1st on?
it's on a Sunday, so if we,
I mean, if we approve somebody then, they could start January, first of the year.
it's gonna take
December the
probably
6th is the
couple of
last
weeks to
first,
work through all
is
the
the first
process.
Friday.
But it's still,
Have a, you want to put that in motion?
Yes, sir.
Have a motion to amend to extend the deadline to December the 6th. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any comments on the amendment only? All in favor of the amendment say aye.
Aye.
And we're back to the original resolution. Any other comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll get it out in various forms. Next is first reading of ordinance 13-36. It's a ordinance about enter into a contract with United Healthcare for employees' health insurance. Let's go ahead and get it on floor for discussion. Have a motion, get it on the floor.
So moved.
Have a second.
Second.
I know we had a lot of information thrown at us last week, and a lot of it sounded good. Employees who turned in their doctors, I think John said we had a 94% acceptance rate of the doctors, which is a pretty high acceptance rate. There was some specialty doctors that was not on the list. I know tonight was just first reading, just to get it on the floor so we could do something.
You know what, Mayor, I talked to John a little bit too, and since the state won't give us any numbers, it's a little scary. We've kinda got what looks like a pretty good proposal from United Healthcare for a year. At the end of the year, it's a little scary. I don't know what'll happen after the year. Having the list, I don't think, we know there's a few specialists we don't have. We're not sure about prescriptions right now. We don't know what the price is gonna, it's a little, and especially for our employees that may have some serious health issues, that'd be pretty scary, and I don't know. I was concerned why United was able to give us a quote on minimum information. That little concerned me a little bit, because they know that if we come off the state, we can't go back on the state for 2 years. And if the forms that we filled out, this hypothetically, I don't know. Let's say half of the employees that turned them in, we only had about half participation, and they were all fairly healthy, because they said, I don't care, I'm gonna fill the form out. And the other half that didn't fill them out might not have been so healthy. If we were to get that information, and once we go through that year, we'll have a record and we'll be rated, we could find that we're in trouble, and then we can't go back to the state for another year. So we're out in the loop and it is a little scary. I don't know.
With the $200,000 savings, even at the end of 1 year, if the policies increased by 200 and you was back, the
Maybe.
worst case scenario.
It may be, and John may be able to answer a little bit better, the tier spacing on where we're at based on our previous rating in the past and how we came in on the state. But we still have not figured out the number of employees that we would subsidize, because, the state does something unique that other health carriers don't do. They cover basically, let's say, quote unquote, single parent child that a lot of don't do. People just do either single or family. So we've got a few employees kind of hung out there. We talked about subsidizing that for them. Don't know all the figures and terms. The gentleman that was here was still trying to get information, how many that would affect. He didn't know. He was also going to go and see if Blue Cross Blue Shield would bite on a plan, because United Healthcare did. Now, if that was the case, and they shot us a $200,000 cheaper, and all the doctors were the same, that would be maybe different. But I don't know, man. I just don't know.
In the work study, it was my understanding that we would probably prove it tonight on first reading, because if we were going to meet the deadlines, time deadlines, and then he were to come back at the next work study and give us all the information. And I've had several employees call me that was nervous as they can
the more we
be.
talked about it, I'm not sure there's a real quote unquote deadline.
That's correct. We can leave the plan at any time with 60 days notice. I think the deadline is more geared toward keeping this $200,000 difference, or $230,000.
January is like another 1%.
1%, but
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Well, and to speak to the savings for just a moment, if you would allow me, let's say it's $200,000 even. Of that $200,000, about 80% of that would come back to the city, and about 20% of that would come back to the employee. So the city would realize from that $200,000 about $160,000 of savings, and from that bucket, that savings, that's where we would pay these offsets, the give back on the out-of-pocket cap, fill the gap between what Blue Cross and Cigna's out-of-pocket cap is and UHC's out-of-pocket gap, and also fill the void that would be present between the meeting the deductible at $450, $700, $900, and $1,150. So as we kind of gave money back through the HSA or HRA to fill that gap, to make it the experience of the employee the same as it was with Blue Cross Blue Shield, monies would have to come from there. And I know at this point we don't have any hard figures from Cheryl Morgan, but as we discussed in work study, we could expect maybe a worst case scenario of $50,000. So if you start with 160 and you take that 50,000, we're down to 110, and then we've got to pay the $28,000 consultant fee in lieu of a broker's percentage, which is actually cheaper, but that gets us down to right around 100 grand savings. It cuts it in half for us pretty quick. And that's still good savings, don't get me wrong. 100 grand is still worth doing.
The fear is,
here's just my fear, because we didn't get, and the state, and just for people watching the meeting, because it sounds like a no-brainer, except for the fact that the state won't give us a rating.
Right.
They won't release rating numbers to us.
If we leave the state, we have to stay away, as you alluded to, for 2 years. Then they'll let us back in, but they would re-rate us when we came back in. With our population entering into the state's plan in 1991, we've been in the state's plan for 22 years. So without a lot of turnover, we've got pretty much at least halfway the same people that entered the plan, only 22 years older. And the insurance company will look at that when they re-rate us, and they may hit us at moving us from Tier 1 in the state's plan to Tier 2, or even possibly Tier 3 premium. If we were to step out of the plan today and step back in tomorrow, with no rate increase, just changing tiers would cost us from Tier 1 to Tier 2 $100,000 a year, and from Tier 2 to Tier 3 another $100,000 a year. So the re-rating also should play into this decision. We don't know what we would be re-rated,
Right.
and they're not going to tell us
Very
because it's the state plan. They don't have to.
And that was the fearful thing about the United, are, you know, they're in this business, they're taking a gamble based, because they don't have our rating, they're taking a gamble based on what they see.
They're rolling the dice.
But they know we're not gonna go back in the state for 2 years.
Right, so they can get
know
us in
that
year two.
second year, that's what I'm concerned about.
Well,
what
and
you're
one
thinking.
thing to consider too, anytime you change plans, go from any insurer to another insurer, that insurer that's taking on your risk, that's assuming your risk, they're gonna collect 12 months of premiums on you. But with the claims run out, it's a 60-day claims run out. The previous insurer has to continue to pay claims 60 days past the end of their coverage period to overlap. So while they're collecting 12 months of premiums, they're only paying 10 months in that first year of claims. So it's kind of it minimizes their risk, and they can look at it and gamble a little bit and say, well, we'll get them either in that year, or we'll sell off some of the high-level risk through aggregate accommodation or specific stop loss
Right.
to a big company in the Hartford or something. And you know, they'll make money. This is a huge company. United Healthcare is a 17 on the Fortune 500 list. So they're looking at us, planning to make some money off of it one way or the other. And we've just got to kind of be deliberate and not get baited in. Again, I'm not saying it's not a good deal. It may be a good deal. And hopefully we'll have some information from from Cheryl Morgan by next Monday's work study to inform us a little further.
Any comments on, well, actually, no comment. All in favor of deferring, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
gentlemen.
Yeah, I think it's good to see you. All right, we have one more item of official business. Brian, you want to?
Ordinance number 1334, an ordinance approving a contract amendment between the Portland Airport Authority and the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation Aeronautics Division for runway safety improvements for the Portland Municipal Airport. Move to approve.
Second.
A motion is second. Any comments or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Has anybody else got anything? Just two comments real quickly. I know all of you get items from the Chamber of Commerce, but tomorrow at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon afterwards, they're going to do a tour of the emergency room facility. So if any of you get a chance to go to their luncheon.
Where now?
Do what?
What facility?
The emergency room facility.
Okay, is it up?
No, I mean, they're still in construction.
Oh,
but
okay,
they're gonna
okay.
give you a chance to tour it. Unfortunately, I won't be able to be there. I've got to do something else. Then also, with fall break and a lot of things going on, we did receive, as you know, solid waste proposals. I formed a little ad hoc committee that Wednesday we'll be reviewing those and try to have a report to you at the work study on those proposals. Does anyone else have anything? If not, we'll be adjourned.